So glad that you're here with me. I'm Dr. Puja. I'm an advocate for CBD and its life-saving nutritional abilities. And I want to tell you a little bit about it so that you can be very knowledgeable yourself and enabled to assist your healing in a new way, a whole new journey when it comes to re-engaging your endocannabinoid system. That is what we're talking about today. This is a system that no one told us about in medical school. And my goals for you during this time of learning are to first give you hope. There's more hope than perhaps you have been aware of. And I want to introduce you to this system and the federally legal products that I love, and to answer some questions that we've had recently, as well as helping you pick the right federally legal products. That means you can go from state to state without concern, as sometimes this topic seems to be quite the gray area. This is a little bit about myself and my family and what we're all about. We're about you being resilient and brilliant and being the true you that you were designed to be, and truly living your God-given potential. And that even means being able to heal from whatever traumas, trials, tribulations that you're enduring at this moment. Count your blessings every day. I help people remember how precious life is, and I hope that you never give up on yourself, and that because if you help yourself, you can then in turn help humanity in a big way. And that's what matters. So my husband and I are on a mission to help people be more resilient and self-reliant in their health journey, and in fact not need doctors as much or at all. So I want to tell you that CBD entered our life about 5 years ago, and it created such a level of hope, wellness, and freedom. And under FDA rules, we cannot tell you how great it is or claim that CBD can diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. So we don't. But I do want you to know that the Department of Health and Human Services clearly understands the value of CBD, as they filed a patent, and it states that cannabinoids have been found to have antioxidant properties and can be useful in the treatment of a wide variety of inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. Now, last week we spoke about autoimmune diseases, and this week I'm just going to re-engage you with our original first webinar information so that you can remember that they know how powerful it is for inflammation. They know how powerful it is for autoimmune disease. They have a patent on it, yet they're not speaking about it. And so we are. So first, a little bit more about our painful journey and how that became more of a purposeful journey. This is my husband. For his 40th birthday, he got to experience the diagnosis of a chicken egg-sized tumor on top of his pituitary gland. From there, he was blessed to know that the surgeon that you would want for this process happened to live in Denver, where he was from. The surgery looked a lot like this versus the other option, which was to peel back your brain and go after it that way. He had not one, but two of those delightful surgeries, and now has recovered really well. Because of my journey that started long ago when I was 5 and ended up with one of these, from one of these, and now I wear one of these, I was a little bit unstable on my feet, and for some reason was near the edge of a pool that happened to be empty in the deep end, fell right onto my head at the age of 6 and ended up with a traumatic brain injury. Fast forward to age 8, I had a very famous autoimmune disease called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Yes, you can get juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 8. It swells your joints, it makes everything very painful. It probably did cover up me understanding that I also had Lyme disease in 2013, when I realized I get to experience that as well so that I could help others. Then CBD entered our life in 2013, and we've been pretty busy since. These are some of our companies and our endeavors. Our favorite is this endeavor, and that's why we're here today with you, is to advocate about an amazing plant that doesn't have to be psychoactive. So in our discussions, we're speaking about CBD that is non-psychoactive. It is found in marijuana or hemp, and the flowers of hemp and marijuana can look quite similar. Industrial hemp is tall and doesn't, looks more stocky, and that's what most people highlight as hemp. But really, hemp is the cannabis plant. Cannabis sativa is what we're speaking of. If it has less than 0.3% THC. If it has more than that, it's classified as marijuana. So you can see that that's a real gray, blurry, strange area. CBD stands for cannabidiol, which is one of over 100 compounds, and these are some of them that they have studied, and the most research is taking place on CBD, but there's also huge benefits for inflammation, anti-inflammation qualities with CBDA, which is a precursor to CBD. And what we know about THC is, it helps with vomiting and nausea and pain, and stimulates appetite and relieves pain. But these other cannabinoids, they treat fungal infections, they inhibit cancer cell growth, promoting bone growth. And I'm saying these because they're based on the research that has been done up to this point. The best research coming out of Israel, if you want to look up cannabis research Israel. CBG is beautiful for aiding in sleep, and again is noted to inhibit cancer and cell growth and promote bone growth and slow bacterial growth. So isn't it amazing to you that we have this whole system that is as important as our endocrine system, yet it was never taught or spoken of in med school? Just now, schools like the University of Iowa or Ohio are incorporating them into their medical program. So when I first started teaching about this, people would pause me and say, are you telling me, did you make this system up just to sell cannabis, sell CBD products? And that's where I would refer them to pubmed.gov. And a recent search for me ended up showing this screenshot of 4,443 articles on endocannabinoid system. So they're really looking into how it works with the opioid system in our body, how it disrupts metabolic syndrome and inflammation in your neurons. I mean, it is helping people with MS. The list goes on and on. It helps so many things, almost looking like a panacea from the heavens, because it controls hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, parathyroid, thyroid, thymus, pancreas, adrenal, kidneys, ovaries. It helps balance all those systems. Yet we never heard of it. So disorders that CBD seems to be strongly related to helping, according to research, are the migraines, MS, like I said, fibromyalgia, depression, epilepsy, of course, breast cancer, diabetes, menstrual cramps, rheumatoid arthritis, chronic concussion syndrome, and the swelling that happens after someone has had multiple concussions. Alzheimer's, glioblastoma people, Parkinson's, ALS, PTSD, asthma, hypertension, Crohn's, irritable bowel syndrome, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, osteoporosis. Amazing that one system is so balancing for all that. Dr. David Allen is a very distinctive surgeon for the heart, the cardiovascular system. He literally stated that he believes this is the single most important medical scientific discovery ever, even more so than penicillin. This is still, unfortunately, how people see cannabis. Don't have it around your children. We're thinking reefer madness here. But so controversial, yet here it is on the $10 bill. This is what farming for hemp looks like. Remember, hemp is cannabis. Medical marijuana is cannabis. They both are coming from cannabis sativa that we're speaking of. Yet one has very, very low properties of THC and the other has very high. Now in the 70s, the typical THC cannabis had about 7% THC at the most, more like 4 typically, so 4% THC. Now you can go to dispensaries and find 18% THC, psychoactive. I don't think I would even know my name. So again, this is what a industrial hemp plant looks like. This is what marijuana looks like, and quite a few of the CBD plants that we work with are more short and squatty for medicine versus tall and leggy. They produce so much you can't even believe. It's over 50,000 now that they've calculated that we could trade plastics for hemp. You don't get high from smoking a rope, okay? And it's so sad that we even have to waste our time expressing this misinformation. But you'll see that it is very much related to our history in medicine and our essential oils, our fuel. We can feed our livestock using hemp and hemp seeds, hemp protein. We can replace all plastics with hemp. Hemp was grown for war. You know, take the 1812 war, for example, that was fought over the hemp trade. The first European settlers were required to grow hemp in their land. Declaration of Independence was drafted on hemp paper, and our friends George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, they all grew massive amounts of hemp. My favorite is to help remind people that the 1800s and early 1900s of traditional medicine, 90% was derived from hemp. That says everything to me. Somehow we forgot our history, and we forgot that hemp could give us victory, and we forgot that we could even make cars run on hemp and be built of hemp plastic. Incredible. So here are some samples from a recent look into this history on cannabis, and these are traditional medicine bottles from the early 1900s that we found at a museum. CBD works in the body based on research. Places like Journal of Neuroendocrinology states that it reduces risk of artery blockage. Over and over again, anti-inflammatory. This comes from Bioorganic and Medicinal Chemistry. Promotes bone growth. Journal of Pharmacology from Britain. It goes on and on that it's neuroprotective, relieves anxiety. I see that over and over again in my clients. That's the first thing to go away, and what a blessing. If people can get rid of their anxiety, they can get on with their God-given potential so much more quickly. And of course, relieving pain is something that's very important for someone suffering. It is our body's largest self-regulating system, and it balances our mood, our sleep, our appetite, our hormones. It influences our ability to have homeostasis or balance and harmony of all body functions. It connects and communicates with various receptors in the body. There are endocannabinoids and phytocannabinoids actually entering, plugging in, and affecting many of these receptors in our body. They are found all over except for the brainstem, and that is why there is no lethal dose of CBD, because there are receptors for it everywhere, every organ except the brainstem. So it's not going to affect how you breathe. It recalibrates your body, and they're found everywhere. So we are very deficient because we haven't had this type of nutrition in over 4 generations, many times more than that. A lot of people are not actually consuming phytocannabinoids, which hemp is one of them, but there are a few others I'll tell you about. And we are not sleeping well. We are accumulating toxins over time. This puts our endocannabinoid system in a complete state of disrepair. Definitely related to the microbiome and the lack of proper nutrition. We can increase our nutrition with certain high quality products and certain herbs that I'll share with you. You can add this to every day, morning, evening. It can be a part of your food. You can also help repair the system by having those 7.5 or 9 hours of sleep every night. The research states that we really need in order to repair and recover. Don't forget to exercise, because when we exercise, we used to think that that was an endorphin rush, but now we know that that is the release of anandamide, which was discovered in the 90s from the Israeli research, and it's not related to what we thought it was. This is an anandamide molecule, which means bliss molecule, which is a state of euphoria from activating your endocannabinoid system. Amazing. So one question I got recently was, is CBD safe for the liver? Great question. Lots of information out there on pubmed.gov if you want to look it up. But it not only is safe, it actually helps a person heal from fibrosis. It helps immune cells recruit and come to the aid of the liver. It repairs liver cells and repairs liver injury and oxidative stress. Isn't that amazing? This one substance has so many ways that it can affect blood flow and tissue repair. Another question I get quite often is this safe for my teenager? You know, because we have a lot of teenagers suffering from anxiety and sleep deprivation and mood disorders and dysregulations. And I want you to know that the Israeli research also noted that we have these receptors in our body because our mother's milk has cannabinoids in them. That's our first source of cannabinoids, is mother's milk. Amazing, once again. So it serves the purpose of building a healthy brain and healthy bone growth. So yes, very safe for our teenagers and even our little toddlers and our infants. So this is the European Journal of Pharmacology that speaks about endocannabinoid CB1 receptor, pre and postnatal life. So dive in. There's a lot out there, and more needs to be done, because we're going to be busy with this topic of cannabinoids for probably the next 100 years, because this relationship of over 100 different cannabinoids within themselves intertwined with ourselves. I love a company that gives to this cause. The company that I really like to work with is Canaway. They come from Medical Marijuana Inc. And they are related to echoconnection.org and strongly promote helping underprivileged families going through really difficult times with their children, especially children that are suffering from seizures that don't respond to traditional medications. They help with financial aid services. They're extremely generous. This is where our donations go, because it's such a night and day difference in the quality of life of these children. So you can look up Echo Connection, and also I'd love for you to look up echoconnection.org/education, where you can find so many good articles on the topic. Don't be scared of cannabinoids, get educated on it, and find a good doctor, especially for kids. This is the father of a 3-year-old that was helped, drastically changed her life, allowed her to have a life with incorporating cannabinoids, CBD, in higher doses. Yes, it helps anxiety in ourselves, our teens, our children. There's study after study in regards to social anxiety, depression, the list go on and on, even obsessive compulsive disorder, and my favorite, post-traumatic stress disorder. I also suffered from this because of the other things I told you about, and what that means is that you end up reliving and re-triggering the same part of your brain that receives the information as the trauma is now, the trauma is coming. So what does that do to your body? It profoundly affects it. And we've heard a lot about this within our military coming home and dealing with life that's different from the tremendous tragedies that they experience. So I love the fact that when people start taking CBD, they literally attach to the hippocampus receptors and starts changing their response to the trigger. So the triggers literally dissolve. The memory doesn't dissolve, the triggers do. So that means a person is not constantly provoked, wrecking their sleep, their relationships with their family. It's beautiful, and there's many children that need this medicine, this nutrition, because of their tragic stories. when you look into cannabis research, there's quite a few health negative effects in high doses. But specifically on CBD or cannabidiol, they cannot find any negative side effects or any kind of overdosing qualities. So it is literally listed as non-addictive. According to this recent survey, nearly half of people who use CBD products stop taking traditional medications. And this is why it's a little bit threatening to the pharmaceutical industry, who is quickly researching how they can lead the CBD pharmaceutical sales, okay? But there's always more value in a whole plant product than an isolated just CBD product. So when you look into our athletes now can take CBD because it's WADA compliant, but they can only take it if it's not synthetic. So that means a pharmaceutical CBD will not be something that our high-level military or athletes, Olympians, NFL players can take. So back to the real plant. The most common reasons a person used CBD in this survey was to treat themselves for anxiety, depression, insomnia, joint pain. Give it a shot. CBD as a pain modulator is profound. When I realized that I had Lyme disease in 2013, there was a tremendous amount of pain in between my shoulder blades. And it was debilitating. I had to actually have my husband come and give me traction multiple times a day, and usually about 4 times in the middle of the night. That's how severe the pain was, because I wouldn't take any opioid medications, and I hadn't quite found this yet. So over and over again, amazing for different types of pain. Look at that echoconnection.org/education to find more, and you will just see that this is having a profound response on everyone that it touches. Also noteful is Tylenol and ibuprofen work because they actually tap into the endocannabinoid system. So the pharmaceutical industry has known this forever, as long as there's information written on it. When it's synthetic, though, it has major adverse side effects. So that's why it modulates pain when you take ibuprofen, but then it causes tremendous breakdown in your kidneys and your liver, and the list goes on, your microbiome. So for those that are on a health and healing journey that's related to cancer, I want you to look at this study, the cannabidiol as a potential anti-cancer drug, British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology, and it really is eye-opening to know. It's beneficial to treat spasticity, and that's muscle spasms and pain, but I love what it said in that journal, that besides its beneficial effects, it possesses anti-proliferative, pro-apoptotic effects, and inhibits cancer cell migration, adhesion, and invasion. Bottom line is it slows down the spread of cancer and the way that cancer does that. So CBD has been known for quite some time now through research to stop cancer cells from propagating and moving to other places in the body to set up shop, as well as increases the body's natural ability to kill abnormal cells. That's what the difficult word apoptotic is. So in that same research, it went down topic after topic of types of cancer. So we're looking at brain cancer, breast cancer, leukemia, lung, thyroid, colon cancer, and showing how it's dropping the spread of the cancer and the invasion. So it's incredible for people that are considering what treatment to endure and begin taking a high quality CBD product like the ones we're going to share about today, so that you can then buy time against mets. Metastasis is often what is the harming event, right? So amazing. It decreases the tumor burden over and over again and decreases the potential for mets in all those type of cancers. So the reason why our athletes can use CBD now is because as of January 1st of 2018, it is now exempt from the prohibited list So the World Anti-Doping Association considers CBD from cannabis as completely non-addictive. So we know there's another way. The topic of overuse in the opioid epidemic is definitely getting some highlights. And 71% of our own NFL players report taking opioids and misusing them. These are people that we look up to. What about those in the military suffering from incredible amounts of pain and emotional trauma still from what they endured? This has to be able to be received. You know, when they go to the VA, why are they not being given this as an option rather than going straight to the opioids that set you up for an addiction to heroin, if that, you know, were the next step? Always, I want people to know about proper dosing. I like to start low and slow. For me, 15 milligrams twice a day helped my symptoms of Lyme disease. But you have to go deep into, you know, making sure that you test for mold, which is one of the biggest triggers for Lyme experiences. Heavy metals, pesticides, I had all of those. Using what your body responds to is what we're looking for. Since you can't overdose, you start low and slow to be able to gauge how low you can go to save you money. And then very quickly, within a day or two, if you're not having any effects, you double that dose. Quickly, get going. There's no toxic level. So there's just a level that's more than you need because you already have the effects at a lower dose. It hits the blood immediately if you go through the buccal system. I prefer using a product that tastes a lot like the plant that it comes from, and it looks like it too, and you take it on an empty stomach so you have the best absorption possible. Those that need higher doses, that need to keep doubling their dose to get an effect, that's because you have been deficient for generations and generations. And the upper limits of people suffering from Parkinson's or cancer, they're really not going much over 200 milligrams a day, which can be pretty cost prohibitive. But if you look at the majority of studies and case studies particularly coming out, it's about 3 months of a high dose like that then a person can drop down to minimum 50 milligrams per day, which is the amount to really superbly activate the endocannabinoid system for most people. Now, people that have experienced chronic inflammation, like my husband, who's always wanting to repair any damage that was done in his brain from the tumor, or myself from the multiple injuries, then we're going to want to stay more in the 80 to 100 milligrams per day because of especially how it prevents Alzheimer's, dementia, rebuilds your liver cells, literally helps change the body epigenetically, which is triggering your receptors like PPAR gamma that change the enzymes and activate genes and turns off onco or cancerous genes, balances your emotions, and dissolves your triggers, traumatic experiences, and balances your pain levels. It's amazing. So you always want to choose quality first. You want to work with a company that will give you their lab analysis from a third party. You want to know that what they state on the bottle is actually what is in the bottle. You can use capsules, but they are lower absorption, and of course you can go through any membrane, including rectally or vaginally. Some people use capsules as a suppository, others make their own or purchase them in a coconut oil suppository fashion. It is a little bit more beneficial to then consume some cashew or macadamia or avocado, some good fat, because it is a fat that our body needs and requests. And in my experience and notable on research, is increasing your omega-3s, maintaining them at a good level is going to help you have the best results from cannabidiol. Some people prefer liposomal, especially if it's working with a child, because it's very water soluble, and the downfall is that it's more bare bone CBD and often doesn't have the full spectrum. So I like full spectrum. You want all those other cannabinoids. when you put it on topically, I've had people sleep better even from that, and even decrease their stress levels and their depression and anxiety from topically applying to the neck, shoulders, base of the skull. And if you suffer from any kind of rash, applying a topical CBD with at least 50 milligrams in the container is profound. It changes people's lives that have suffered with trouble in their skin. The one that you should use is the one that you will use. So let me show you some options in a few minutes. Other phytocannabinoid sources besides hemp and cannabis CBD is flax, black pepper, echinacea, helichrysum, copaiba, liverwort, and chocolate. So perhaps when we crave chocolate for balancing our mood, it isn't just because our cycle is starting, right? Or that we're magnesium deficient. Perhaps it's our body knowing that we need to activate the endocannabinoid system. And my thinking is that the treatment-resistant conditions are really very related to the endocannabinoid system being deficient. A deficiency syndrome is what they're calling it. So the company that I really like to work with is Panacea. They are built on 4 pillars of being family-oriented, really incorporating the full family, sustainable agricultural methods driven by science first. And they're the leader in this botanical medicine, botanical nutrition. They started in 2009. They really are a company that first created the mainstream natural botanical CBD brand of Medical Marijuana Inc. and Panacea. I really respected the fact that they have strict standards and their rigorous triple lab testing that you can ask for and engage with. They are the first direct sales company to offer hemp products, and that means that because they are the first, they are also have worked with many relationships in different countries and have been allowed to enter into the European market. So if you have European family members or friends and you want to get these products to them, you now can. So if that's an interest, reach out to me and I'll give you my contact information at the end. They are the first company to use hemp to combat aging and skin problems and low vitality. So here is their line of products. I love the fact that they're organic and they don't use pesticides or herbicides and they are non-GMO. I also love the feeling I have being able to take it on the plane and not worry if I'm taking something that is illegal. These blue bottles are the cannabis skincare line. This one's more for troubled skin. And then these are the Revive products. They're very related to balancing hormones, increasing vitality naturally, because they are mixed with a wonderful botanical Korean line. Also, they have these greens, these powdered greens that have the hemp protein, and many times greens can make a person feel a little nauseous. I've taken a lot of greens in my life, grew up on blue green algae. These greens are fabulous and they taste like spearmint. There also is a hemp vape, and there are chocolate chews, and of course the Sab is one of the best sellers. People want to know what's the best one for me. Again, you want to go with your interests, your knowledge about your taste and your palate. These are the Revive products, and they are incredibly good tasting, and they are mixed with the Korean herbs and things like ashwagandha, holy basil. This is my favorite product right here, the premium hemp oil in either the gold or the blue-green formula. Definitely affected everybody that I've used with it in regards to their sleep. Encourages longevity and super high in cannabinoids. Yes, you can have it in a capsule form, but like we said, it's a little bit slower on the uptake. This is CBD oil that some people don't want to taste, and they're okay with a spoonful of oil. So the oil that it's mixed with is MCT, which comes from coconut oil. And there's more than just cannabidiol. There's all of the other full spectrum cannabinoids, as well as essential vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, fiber, protein, terpenes, flavonoids. And the terpenes you'll find on the swallow that end up being kind of a peppery taste in the back of your throat. The ones for any of our military, anyone regularly drug tested, anyone who is an athlete needs to look for the products that say pure. Pure is the word that is completely THC free. Wait a minute, I thought that we were not talking about THC, right? Going back, these products are less than 0.3% THC, but they still have a trace. So you want to go with what is WADA compliant if you are an athlete or regularly tested. Still cleanses, detoxifies, and helps in all the ways that we spoke about. These are their 3 blends for essential oils using the terpenes and cannabinoids in an essential oil format. I love the smells. This is one for energy, one for sleep, and one for immune system. You can put them on your acupressure points, and they are very different from other essential oils, very unique. They're not planning on extending their line of essential oils in a big way. It's not a competition, it's an additive. So I love essential oils, and I also love these oils. So being able to actually inhale into the lungs a CBD source has been shown to be effective for those with asthma and COPD. In the case of my own husband, he developed asthma because his alveoli in his lungs were burned in a fire in his bedroom when he was an infant and he was in his crib. So by the time his father got to him, the dark black smoke was already in his crib. His dad picked him up and jumped out the window. We have found that this vape has actually decreased his need for inhalers on a regular basis, and I've been shocked at what it's done for people with COPD. I love these energy chews, and I love the purpose that they were created was to help people that were on these high caffeinated beverages, the energy drinks, the Monster drinks, the Red Bull. There's a lot of people that are suffering and developing heart conditions from those. Each chew tastes like a Tootsie Roll, and it has 100 milligrams of CBD or caffeine in it and 5 milligrams of CBD. So it's like a caffeine increase of energy without falling off at the end. I love them. They're non-GMO and tasty, super tasty. These are the greens I told you about. They have the Vibong, which means ancient Korean formula herbal blend in them, and you're welcome to look up the ingredients. There's many, many, many antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, microbiome balancing. This is their capstone product. This salve has helped more people than I can even name. I use it on every single patient in my office, and I love how it just dissolves muscle spasms. And there's the skincare line again. They even have hats and wallets that last 20, 30 years because it's made of hemp. So people are now realizing that cannabis is becoming mainstream, and not all cannabis will get you high. There's so many, over 23,000 touted benefits, and this cannabis industry is the fastest growing in the United States. I like to go with a company that has a reputation that's worthy of standing up for. Because they're a hero to me, we can then be heroes to ourselves and humanity, because really it's hemp that's the hero. If you would like more information, or you have a specific question, or you would like to actually order these kind of products, please reach out to me. Title your email CBD please, and it's drpuja.info@gmail.com. I'm so grateful that you attended this today, and you can share this information with your own family. We are so privileged to be able to bring forth this advocacy of such an amazing and astounding plant. And I want you to have a truly resilient life. All right, I'm looking for questions, and if we don't have any directly here, let's have you just email me. I am so fortunate to be able to share this information with you, and we'll see you next week.